Get connected with Take Two Radio on Facebook or Twitter at Take Two Radio. For email updates on future shows, follow at Blog Talk Radio. For previous episodes, upcoming guests, and more, visit Take2Radio.com.
Hi, this is Dave Roundtree, co-author of the soon-to-be-released Demon Street USA, author of Paranormal Technology, an all-around science geek in the paranormal. And when I'm not doing anything, I sit around and chuckle to the antics of the Malliard Report.
The opinions expressed on the Malliard Report are those of the host and participants and are not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any simulcasting radio network or sponsor. All listeners are advised to make their own decisions.
It's the Malliard Report, yeah, the Malliard Report, the paranormal talk radio show with Jim Malliard as your host. See what lies beneath any paranormal activity. Go inside a world that others don't want to see. It's the Malliard Report, yeah, the Malliard Report. I want to welcome everybody to the Malliard Report tonight. Spectrum Light, the best IR booster is available. Significant illumination games. You go over there and check out the videos with Sony cameras. SpectrumState.com. Follow them on Twitter at AU Paranormal. Okay. Tonight my guest is THERESA Moretimer. Yes, I did that. Yes, I did it right. I feel proud of myself. She just yelled at me about 4 times, and this almost started off on the wrong foot, but that's okay. How are you doing tonight, THERESA?
I'm good. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing pretty good. So, I want to start kind of heavy. We were just joking about how busy you are. We'll get there, but I want to go back a little bit. I don't want to go too deep into it, obviously, but I want to go back to what made you start writing these books. And like I said, if there's anywhere you don't want to go, don't go there. But tell my listeners about what the genesis of starting to write this series of books, and then obviously now you've kind of spun out of that.
All right. The reason I started writing was I was a victim of domestic violence. My husband had beaten me nearly to death. I had 3 ribs detached from my sternum, and the actual tip of my sternum had been inverted inward. I had my right shoulder separated and 4 tears, several neck and back injuries. My hands had been burned with cigarettes. The man told me he was going to kill me, and he meant it. He was going to kill me. And fortunately, I survived. It took a lot of years of therapy trying to help me understand that it wasn't my fault, that I was not the reason this happened. And I started to keep a journal, as I was asked by my psychiatrist and also my therapist. And as I started writing the journals, they told me that those were good. If I fictionalized them, I could actually turn that into a book. And I said, well, maybe I will. And it did take me a little bit to do it because I was so afraid of putting myself out there. I didn't want the world to know what happened to me. That was a private thing. That I felt dirty. I felt used. I couldn't look anyone in the eye. And it took another year for me to get over those feelings. And I went ahead and published my first book last year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just wanted to tiptoe around that. I wanted to get out of that, but I wanted to bring it up because it's important to the type of book you're using. I mean, you're writing, right? Using. So now spin it forward. How did you transition from taking it from a journal to something that you wanted out there?
Well, they told me I had a lot of help from Midshore Council on Family Violence. They helped me with protective orders. They helped me with protection. They helped me obtain an attorney, and they helped cover costs for the attorney. the situation had gotten extremely ugly. And when I wrote the book, I sat down with my attorney, and he had told me, well, is there any way that you can turn you into a fictitious person? And I did. On and off all my life, I've written. I've never published anything, but I would write because I used to write for my children. I'd write them stories, and as they got older, I would write like little mysteries for them. So I spun out this whole new thing. The tragedies in the book are based on me, but the whole scenario is not entirely wrapped around me. I only used a portion of my life, but I made a fictitious setup for the characters.
So now I guess my next question was, I mean, how easy or difficult was it to create a fictitious character and keep true to your events, but not be so true that it was just basically telling your story?
Actually, it was really difficult. And quite honestly, through a lot of it, I cried. I would have to stop myself and say, now, get it together, keep it together. You can do this. You're a stronger person than this. He's taken everything away from you. Don't let him have this. Because I came out of this entire ordeal disabled, fully disabled, because of the chest injuries. I'm not allowed to lift, and I have difficulty breathing now. So I can't take in a normal breath, and sometimes I don't function well in society because I get very nervous with a lot of people around me. So I always have to have someone with me to help me feel secure. They're kind of like my security blanket, if you understand what I mean.
I do understand what you mean, and that's why I appreciate you coming on to share this story with my listeners, and hopefully, ideally, we could sell a book. No, I'm not going to promise any more than
nice.
I'm not going to promise any more than that, but I just want to promise one. So you get it together. That sounds not what I meant to say. You get the book ready to go. Then what? I mean, I'm assuming it took you months to get it to the point where you felt comfortable giving it to somebody else to read.
Yes, it did. It took me, I guess, oh, Lord. I had it written. I showed it to my attorney, and it still took me 2 or 3 months before I could actually let someone else read it. But my mom took my manuscript. She wouldn't let me know. She took it because she knew if she said something to me about, I'm going to read this, then I would have grabbed it and said, no, you can't do that. I don't want you to know.
Right.
So she read it and she said, oh, my gosh, you need a box of tissues with this book. And I had a few others. My counselor read it. Actually, a psychiatrist for Social Security read what I had written. And he encouraged me to keep going forward. He told me, no, I love this because you've done this so well. And it was amazing. After I started getting these positive flows, I kind of let go of some of the fear. And what they did was they told me, well, these people that are buying your book, they can't see you. And I said, well, you're right. So I kind of thought of it that way. When someone buys my book, they can't see me. You can see my picture in the back, but you can't really see me. So as long as you can't see me, you really aren't reading it to me, It's kind of a funny way of putting it.
Yeah,
I make myself believe that, people aren't really seeing what's inside of me.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult putting yourself out there.
It is. And I struggled with that for the first, year of doing the show. I tried to do, the cut dry, try to be the prototypical, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to put a name to it because that'll probably offend some people. No humor, real dry, just ask the simple questions, and then I realized that isn't me, and if I was going to do it, I had to just push that wall down and go forward with it.
Exactly.
But that still took another year to get out of that, okay, so how far can I go with me? And then finally I just said, no, well, if they hate it, they hate it. It's mine.
Exactly. And I was like, well, if nobody likes my book, well, it's okay, I did it. At least I can say I did it. And
some people like you like it obviously because you let it go. That's all that matters. You're the only person that counts in this whole story. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. After you,
oh, yes, I do.
that was coming. I decided that was going to sound really harsh when I finished what I was thinking, but. Okay, so what happened? Okay, I love having writers on because there's always that moment where they take it to somebody, an editor or whatever you want to call them, and it comes back and it looks like one of my 8th grade spelling papers, all red. How did that impact you? Because it could, obviously it probably would have just been easy to put it on the shelf and be done with it at that point.
It would have, except my family, my friends, they told me, no, you can do this. You do it. You know you can. You do this. So I did. And I went ahead. I corrected majority of the errors. But honestly, I left a few in there because I thought, what a great promotion if I offer a $100 gift card to the person that finds all the errors in my book. But although people were buying, no one entered the contest. I got all these people sending emails to me saying, I got so involved in the story I didn't look for the errors. But I said, well, you can still find them.
Well, go read it.
There's still a gift card up for grabs.
Read it once for the story and then go back through and...
It's like, go ahead. It's okay.
I tell you, some people would probably, if I did that, I'd probably have emails coming out my ears, all the errors I make. Oh, anyways. So, okay, now I think we've got it, we were just talking about editing, so now we're at the point where, do you send out to publishing companies, or where do you go next?
Actually, I was afraid to go to a publishing company. I was terrified of rejection. And I self-published. And I kept being encouraged, send this manuscript to them, but I didn't. I self-published because in self-publishing, they weren't going to tell me no. They weren't going to say, we can't publish this, or we don't like this material. They were going to say, no matter what it's like, they're going to say, yes, we can. This is great. Oh, I love it. So right. I went with the one that I knew was going to boost my ego.
Well, okay, so we're spinning it forward still, though. So it worked, so obviously. It became something that people bought because there's more of them coming out, and we're talking about it. So it worked. So what advice would you give to somebody? I know there's a number of people, and I'm supposedly sometime distant future writing a book. So what advice would you give to somebody that is going to self-publish?
Do it. Just do it. Don't worry about your fears. Don't worry about the what ifs, what else. Just write it. Sit down at your computer, sit down at a typewriter, get out a pen and paper, whatever, or even get out your little recorder and just do it. I carry a little recorder with me because sometimes in the middle of driving something hits me and I turn that thing on and I start talking. But no, just do it because really there's no better feeling than when you've put everything that you're thinking on paper and you get it published. And there are so many ways to self-publish these days that really won't cost you. I wish I knew all of these ways when I first started, but I finally know them now. And when you get secure enough, like I'm finally starting to feel secure, so I'm going to send my next manuscript out to a regular publishing company. And I've told myself, I don't care if 100 tell me no, one of them's going to tell me yes.
That's true. And that'll be.
So,
and it seems like the authors I talk to that go through a little bumps trying to get to the publishing house, that, you know, they said that they finally get one, they're happy there. It's not like they're upset. You know, they finally, and it's a good mesh between the publisher and the people that are there with them. So it's I don't want to say it totally fate-based, but, you know, there is some element of that. So it's impressive sometimes when you put something together like that and let it grow.
It is. And like they finally got through my head, nothing beats a failure but a try. So just do it. That's stealing a coin from Nike, right? Just do it. But really, just do it.
Yeah, and that's the key. That's what I always tell people. You know, being a show host, they're always asking, how do I do it better? How, you know, when people first start, what's the best thing to do? The best way to get better at it is just doing it. Seat time. There's no replacement for that little red button over there being lit and the nerves that go with that. So I'm sure it's the same with writing. I'm sure that even while you were starting as a journal, but I'm sure as you developed the thoughts more, it got more expansive and more detailed and more of substance.
Oh, yes. And there's a lot of stuff that I went through that I did not put in the books because I limited myself as to how much I wanted people to really know. I thought, well, you know, my doctor knows this, my psychiatrist knows this, my therapist knows this, my attorney knows this, the judge knows this. My family knows some of this, but my family doesn't even know all of this. So on that aspect, I couldn't put everything out there, but I put 70% of it out there.
Yeah, I don't think you need to put all of it out there. Just gut feeling. I don't know. So, my guest tonight is THERESA Moretimer. It's the Malliard Report. Remember to do that tonight. High five to me. Sorry.
I'm hitting you.
Some nights you know, time just flies and I forget to, you know, do these simple things because people do listen live and versus the podcast and they might be tuning halfway in and go, who's he talking to? He's not going to tell us. Oh, well. Anyway. So the first book's been out for a while. What makes you go then to, I guess we should give the title of the book. We haven't even got to that yet. What's the title of the book?
To Hide from Death.
Okay. Well, I guess they're all named that with subtitles. So the first subtitle, The Hide from Death, is the first book.
Yes.
Okay. Trying to read my chicken scratch, too.
First book is To Hide from Death. Book 2 is To Hide from Death When Death Comes Stalking.
Okay. And then
book 3
is...
No, go ahead.
Death 3 is Death Comes No More. See, I do have it.
Yes.
Barely.
Yes. Death Comes No More.
Okay.
Don't you love those?
So now that we've got the very happy, good, feely part of the show out of the way with these book titles, so, okay, book 1's out, and at what point do you decide that there's book 2?
Because of the ending I left in book 1. Nobody would want to see an ending like that.
So you kind of knew that beforehand. This was a intentional second book.
Yes, because there was so much that when I went in to self-publish, the company I went through was going to charge me twice as much because of how long my book was. So I had to cut it off. But I had to think about where to cut it off. So I cut it off where people would be buying a second book. And there was a method to my madness. That's because I donate 20% of all of my proceeds to help victims of domestic violence. So without the help, they couldn't get people attorneys, and there would be no advocates to be able to come out to the courthouse with you and help you fill out paperwork and help you get to safe houses.
That's a great thing you're doing, by the way. I just wanted to say that before I forgot.
Thank you.
Makes the world just a little bit better when you give back. Okay.
Yes, it does. It makes you feel better.
So the second book, was that already done then, and you just chopped it, or was it?
Yes, it was already completed. I did have to tweak a lot. I had to go back through and fix a lot of errors that I had, and going back through, I had this terrible habit without being able to really use my right arm very well. I had to learn how to write all over again. And I have a hard time typing sometimes because the pain will get severe. And like my heroine, Kelly Price, I have allergies to 98% of medications out there on the market. If they gave you a full list of medications, I'm not allergic to 4. So I can't take painkillers, and I can't be put under to have surgery, so I couldn't get corrections for anything wrong. My therapy consisted of learning how to breathe without pain and learning how to move to give me minimal pain. So, lucky for me, I have a very high pain tolerance now.
I was going to say, that's just incredible. Okay, so the second book comes out in November.
The second book was out last November after I got all those tweaks done and all of the edits that I was told to get done. I got all that. And book 3 will be out the end of this month.
Okay, so where do
if
books...
I get my budding deer and finish edits.
Well, it'll be out soon, if it's June or July. So where did book 3 come from then?
Book 3 came because I had, 300 and some odd letters that actually came to my house, and I'm not sure how people knew exactly where I lived. I'm thinking, wow, I have my address posted somewhere. But anyway, the letters came to my house saying, we need more. This can't be all. We need more. And I have an aunt that lives in Pasadena, Maryland, and she told a neighbor about my books. So, well, she got the books, and she sent me a note saying I needed a whole box of Kleenex to read this book. And she buys a book and sends it to her mother in Kentucky. And her mother gets a group of their readers in Kentucky to buy the book. And I get letters from them about needing tissues. But by the time they were done book 2, I'm getting these letters saying, you can't leave it like this. We need more. It can't be over. Can't you turn this into a series? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to dig deep. My ex-husband hasn't left me alone yet. He's done more. Okay, I'll give you another. But a lot of book 3 is made up.
So is book 3 going to...
I just want to put that out there. A lot of book 3 is made up. Not all that stuff really happened because there's some really major stuff in this book.
Uh-oh. Spoiler alert. Well, not really, I guess. Kind of. So is book 3 going to put a bow on it, or are you going to leave it kind of open again for a 4?
Well, we have book 4 coming out. Book 4 is going to be a little nicer because it's going to be around holiday time. So I'm going to spin a little holiday niceness into that book. We're going to have a few problems, but we'll have some niceness too. I'm trying to be nice. I'm saying I'm trying to be nice. I'm working 2 ends. I have, on one hand, people that want me to continue writing this series, and on the other hand, I have Mid-Shore asking me, please give them closure and let these people know that there really is an end to domestic violence.
Right.
And, on that one, quite honestly, I'm kind of betwixt and between. I understand that need, but at the same time, I've been doing my tarot for 4 years, and it's not stopped yet. I went and got a house, and he came and bought one 5 miles up the road from me. So mine hasn't stopped. And now I'm literally in the middle of packing up and finding another house to move to again.
Craziness. So
yes, but as long as he does stuff like that, I get things to write about.
That's right.
I have to spin off with this attitude, because if I don't, I let fear take over, and that's not good for me.
No, it's not good for anybody to let fear take over and ruin their life. That's the only word I can put it, because once you start getting afraid, the best thing...
You live your life afraid.
Yeah, and then it snowballs.
Yes, I spent 4 years becoming unafraid, so I don't want to fall back into that category.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first series of books. You have a couple other projects out there.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to shift gears out of your... I don't even know the word for it. What genre of book is that? Like, I don't want to say horror, because it probably is, but...
No, it's mystery, suspense, thriller.
Okay, see, that's why I'm asking you, because I'm totally 2 aisles over. Okay, so... Your other stuff. What other stuff do you got going? You've got an actual mystery book, then? Is that what I read in your...
Yes.
Okay, let's go there.
Yes.
So what's that about?
All right. I have, the mystery book, and remind me of which title I'm at. I just drew a blank on my own stuff.
Oh, I just wrote down mystery book, but I'll get it here for you.
I should have sat in front of my computer.
Let's see.
My cheat sheet.
Well, you sent it to me, and I did it. I just wrote down mystery book because I figured that let's see.
I have a couple mysteries coming out. One mystery I know is the To Hide from Death 4.
Yeah, that's the only one I have listed here.
One of them. I have 2 holiday books coming out and a horror.
Okay.
That's it.
That's okay.
All right.
That's my bad.
I just had brain seizure for a moment.
I guess I didn't. I caught the mystery part of that. I didn't realize it was book 4. I didn't read correctly. Okay, so Christmas books.
Oh,
okay.
well, I am writing another mystery book too.
Okay.
But I've got that one planned for 2015.
You're way beyond my... People think I'm ahead, but boy, that's ahead. That's just beyond me.
But I sometimes bite off more than I can chew.
Trust me, I know that one too. Okay, so Christmas books. Now, I have this little picture of a Christmas tree floating in my head right now. But what is a Christmas book? Just give me the general version, and then we'll get into yours.
Well, a Christmas book for this one is actually about a young woman who really doesn't believe in love. She's not real big on Christmas until her mother comes to her and says, look, you just bought a house and we're going to have our family Christmas dinner at your place this year. You better make it good. And she's a newspaper reporter, so she's going out to different places and starts interviewing people about their Christmases and doing research. And she finds people at a senior home where they're telling her about recipes they have all the way from the Civil War, recipes from World War II, and things that they had in celebration of those family members that had come home. And these are a dish they make every year and have. So, for decades, centuries, these have been being made. And all the recipes and full instructions are in the middle of the book. So as she learns one, it's right there for everyone. But it comes out to be a really nice story.
So it's
at least I'm thinking.
Well, so it's kind of a novel and a cookbook. Is that what I'm being very rudimentary about? That's kind of cool. It's a good idea. It kind of gives you best of both worlds. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and my youngest daughter is going to start a YouTube video on the book, but the recipes. So she'll be starting a YouTube video showing people how to make the recipes. And I thought that was rather creative of her because she's only 12, but she's one heck of a cook. My goodness. I couldn't believe it because she outcooks me.
That is a good skill to have.
Yes, it is. I told her you'll have no problem.
That's more important than handwriting, if you ask me.
Oh, yes. I think they should really make that mandatory, learning how to cook in school.
Yeah,
not an elective.
Sometimes we're going to travel off topic here for a minute. But I've never used algebra anywhere since I've left school.
That's funny. Yeah, neither have I.
Ever. Basic math, yes. I use a calculator for most of it anymore. Or my phone that has a calculator. But yeah, cooking. Here's the other one. This is going to get me in some trouble with some people. Cleaning. Like picking up after yourself or washing dishes or... Yeah, it's no fun. Actually, I wash dishes for a living for a while. I know it's no fun. Trust me, King, I know. But guess what? Somebody has to do it. It doesn't always have to be me or somebody in your life. You can spare them once every 2 months. It'd be a great shock and surprise. Okay. Kick that soapbox away. So, I don't even know where I want to start.
I'm just thinking, I used to clean for 27 years, and I don't do so much anymore. I'm looking at my house while you're talking about cleaning, and oh my God, I'm glad we're not Skyping.
Well, but there's different levels of it. You know what I'm talking about. You clean, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. The person that would walk in and bring drop bags of dirt on their floor just to be ignorant.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's clean but not OCD. And then there's people that are OCD, and you can't go to their house without a coaster and protective sheet covers.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been to those houses.
Ooh, yeah.
Short visits.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't breathe on the wrong thing, or anyways. So, let's talk about the Eastern Shore Writers Association. How have they helped you become a better writer?
Oh, wow. I can hand them my manuscripts now, and my president actually will take 3 chapters at a time and edit my work for me. So he's been doing this for book 3. So book 3 ought to be a really much better book because I didn't do that with the others. I did just get feedback because now that I have the first 2 out there, I gave books to different members, and they've actually gone through and have done some editing for me so that I can go back in and correct all of these things. And some of these things I didn't even realize I had done. And that's why you don't use Dragon when you're an author. Sorry, Dragon. But it can't differentiate 2, 2, and 2.
No.
And I should have thought about that because, dumb things like that. And there, and there.
Yeah. That just gives me a head.
To their house, THERE instead of THEIR.
That just gives me a headache thinking. Just gives me a headache thinking about it. Even just trying to be I write little blurbs as blogs. I don't like paragraphs because I know writing is not in my top 5 things I like to do or am good at doing. So I avoid doing it at most costs. But in order to communicate, there's a number of a level that I have to perform at, especially since I
Yes.
Well, speaking of which, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, get over there. Not just you, but anybody listening. Sounded like it was directed at you. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, go over and sign up on the 24th, which is my wedding anniversary. I'm having my wife on the show. Should be interesting. And I'm going to give away swag swag that night to somebody, or I think someone, I'm not sure yet, I haven't done the math. At least one person's going to get a T-shirt or something of their choice out of my shop. But I'm going to write the names out from the newsletter and pull one, so you got to be part of the newsletter to win at least. Okay. Shameless self-promotion there.
Hey, it worked.
Somebody has to do it, and you're not going to do it for me.
I'm tweeting you. I even Facebooked you.
Facebook? What is Facebook?
I advertised you on my Facebook page.
And by the way, oh boy, Miss Starr, I don't even know how you say your first name. I'm sorry, I probably should know. You host a radio show, I should probably go listen to it. But she sent you a guest request for her show, so it is paying off being on my show tonight. So, just for anybody that is wondering if anybody's listening, there are people listening, and they're gonna get to hear you more. So, that's good. And the Eastern Shore Writers Association is having a book fair in Baltimore. I'm assuming Maryland. September 26th and 27th, and you're going to be there.
Yes, 26th, 27th, and 28th, I think. I think the 28th ends on a Sunday, and I'll be there all 3 days.
Okay. So, okay. Speaking of events, I wanted to mention this one, but I don't have any more information except it's this Thursday from 5 to 7 at Barnes & Noble. You didn't give me a where.
Oh, in Salisbury, Maryland.
I was hoping.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I told you I'm asking just because I like to have the information here in case I say, so what's going on this week? And you go, as far as I know, I'm good to go. I'll be like, what about your book signing? And you'll be like, oh, what about it? And you'll be there from...
Yeah, exactly.
So Salisbury, Maryland. Where is that? I've heard of it, but where is that?
That's going towards Ocean City.
Okay.
On the Eastern Shore.
Okay. I'm from northwestern Pennsylvania, so I kind of, it's kind of in that circle of things that I've at least seen on the map when I'm driving around. So
I'm going to Gettysburg on Monday.
One of my favorite places on earth, but I hate it at the same time.
I love it.
So I have that love-hate.
Crowded.
It's crowded, and there's been different personal experiences there that kind of creep me out. So.
Oh yeah, but I love that because I have friends there that do ghost hunting, and oh my gosh, it is so amazing. I love it. We did some in my house, and now look, I'm getting off topic, but we did some.
Yeah, but you're on a paranormal show, so this is good.
I did that when they got named. So I'm going to behave myself, and I was just about to take a major turn here, but
no, you're good. You're
Mark and Paula, boy, they're phenomenal when it comes to paranormal.
See, but here's the thing: it's italkparanormal.com, so you're right in line with what I normally do.
Thank you, God.
You don't sound. I have the clack crew. You're right in line. You're not a clack. You're right. You're at home with this. There's no. I always tell people the only topic I don't talk about is the topic that you don't want to talk about. So. Exactly. Yeah,
that's pretty wild though. But really, I love Gettysburg for that, because when you go, there's always something.
Yes. And the funny thing is, there's moments where you go to the places that people tell you should go, and then you go there and it's always crowded, or then you go off and you find your own little corner and it's much better.
Yes. And that's why I love going with Mark and Paula so much. Mark, he does all the cover work for my books. And actually, when you look at the book covers, they're from right outside Gettysburg. So, because he lives there. But, they know every site to go to. They know every place to go. And we even went to an ice cream parlor and had a little thing.
That's the key, just to have the little things. It's kind of like golf. That's what I always tell people. There's always that one good shot that brings you back.
Oh yes.
Okay, so the last little blurb here that I've got a few other things here, but wait, you're going to the Bahamas to have a book signing?
Yes, in Nassau. And it's really funny. When they set this cruise up for me, it just happened to be my birthday. Talk about a win-win. What are you doing for your birthday? Oh, cruising to the Bahamas.
Really, I don't even know what to say to that, and that's probably not the best thing for me to have at this point. And that's really cool, though, that it worked. I mean, obviously it's cool that you get to go, first and foremost, and then it comes on your birthday. That's kind of even somebody out there smiling upon you. That's all I can say.
Yes. I was like, oh, wow, this is fantastic. And it really didn't cost as much as I thought it was going to, because the actual trip for me had been a gift. And Norwegian Cruise Lines went ahead and let me add my children for only $259 each.
Well,
so, I mean, where can you go wrong with that?
They can't. I mean, even just, I was just sitting here thinking, if there's somebody that needs a vacation from life, so to speak, even though you're not going to get away from it, it's still going to be with you, obviously, because you're taking your kids. Mm-hmm. But still, just to get away for, 10 days, I'm assuming? 5, 7, somewhere in there? 10?
Oh, I wish, but it's only 4.
Oh.
It's only 4. But still,
well,
you know,
it's a little break
away. And
get lost. Don't get back on the boat. No.
Now, if it were Hawaii.
Okay, probably not the best idea I've ever had, but it's okay. It happens from time to time.
I don't know. You know, I might get down there and say, oh, wow, man, white sandy beaches. Now, if they have horseback riding, I think I'm stuck.
Probably so. Oh, my guest tonight is THERESA Moretimer. You're listening to the Malliard Report. There. Okay, done with that for tonight. So what? I mean, we've kind of hinted around this. We've got the couple books we already talked about, kind of dribbling out, and you've already told me you've got one coming out next year. So it sounds like you've kind of embraced being a writer.
Yes. Well, honestly, you know, it's about the only occupation I really have left. I can't put myself out around people, and with an inability to use majority of my right side, that limits me. And the fact that I can't lift anything over 5 pounds, that really limits me. But writing, I think I kind of found a passion for it, and I'm instilling that passion in my children because now my kids are writing.
And that besides reading, writing is I think they're fun. I mean, boy, some teachers going, yeah, sound really smart here. They're the fundamentals of life. Yeah, right there next to breathing and eating. Yes, I know. It sounds cliche and corny, but something to be said, especially in this day and age for young people, especially young people. Mm-hmm. I have 2 young kids as well, to write. I mean, because, like you were mentioning, Facebook, Twitter, especially Twitter. I love Twitter because that's right up my alley. It's a short, bam, there it is. I don't have to put much thought into it, and now, I don't develop my thoughts, so I get these short thoughts. So to put something together, yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. You started talking, I just kept going.
Fine. No, you're fine.
I just kept going.
I was going to say now, for Twitter, I sometimes find Twitter difficult because of writing novels. I end up typing and I start saying one thing and boy, I start getting into it and I've got this paragraph and it's all in red. You have exceeded your tweets or you have exceeded your characters. And I'm like, wow, how do I take 2 paragraphs and put it back in one sentence? So sometimes people I can imagine them squinting and looking like, what the heck does this mean? And all of a sudden this next tweet to finish it comes out because I don't type fast. So what I do is I tweet a line and then I tweet another line and I tweet another line. Yeah, but I mostly tweet prevention of domestic violence, warning signs so people don't have it happen to them.
Well, go ahead, throw some of those out there. I was getting there. We'll get into hopefully we're getting there anyway. So go ahead, throw some of this out there so we can hopefully benefit somebody.
A lot of it is when you meet someone and you're going out, everything's fine, they don't mind your friends, but all of a sudden, well, why do you need to go see your friends tonight? Why don't just you and I hang out? So you do that, and you want to see your friends the next week. Well, why do you need to see them? Why don't you just stay here with me? And you say, well, no, I'd really like to go see them. Well, what do they have that I don't have? And you start getting a hard time, and pretty soon you find you're being alienated from your friends. So I'll tweet, alienation of friends and family, domestic violence. And it's not just, a one-time thing. It's when someone keeps you from doing it a lot. If you're a woman and you wear makeup and all of a sudden they're telling you don't need that, you're pretty enough as you are. Some men actually mean, you're pretty enough as you are. But when you have someone that's telling you every time you want to go out, you don't need that, and they no longer allow you to put your makeup on, you're starting to head into domestic violence. You're starting to head into a situation that can become ugly. Because the little things that go to the mind eventually become the things that are physical. And you'll get this thing where maybe you're shoved and you get this big apology and you get this extra special love treatment and you think, oh, wow, well, things are great. But then that next time, it's not a shove, it's a slap. Well, then you get a super extra special love treatment. Well, in women especially, that goes to their head and they think, oh, my gosh, he really loves me. He didn't mean it. Believe me, been there. And you really don't realize that this is domestic violence, and these things are going to keep rolling like a snowball downhill. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger until you're either seriously hurt or dead.
Yeah, and that's obviously nowhere anybody wants to be. So
exactly.
And it's important for people to pay attention and notice changes or even about somebody they know. If somebody is getting, one of their friends is getting shut out from the group.
Exactly. You have a friend that used to be with you all the time. I mean, it's understandable that in some relationships, in the beginning, you're not worried about running around with your friends. Sometimes, you dote all of your attention on this one person. But then when it comes to, okay, I haven't seen my friends for a while, let's go see them. Well, you don't need them. You have me. And it's going to escalate from that.
Yeah, and once it escalates, it's that big snowball again. It just keeps going.
Exactly. And the worst thing is everyone wants to believe, because you love this person so much, when you have that special love session, everyone wants to believe it really is going to get better. They really do love me. They really didn't mean it. But it's not getting better. And you might notice, hey, this person's drinking more, and when they drink more, this is happening. Or maybe now it's not just happening privately, but you just got shoved in front of your friends. Or you just got grabbed by your arm and marched out because you were told you weren't supposed to be there. And other things like calling you on the phone, where are you? Well, why didn't you tell me you were going? How long are you going to be? Well, don't you think you need to be here with me right now? And you start getting these kinds of phone calls all the time where someone keeps keeping tabs on you to find out where you are, because it's not love. It's a jealousy setting in. And as that jealousy gets deeper and that need to control you gets deeper, your situation becomes more dangerous.
And I know it's not an easy topic for you to talk about, but if it's something going on with your friends or something you may notice in your own life, it is something that you need to reflect upon and address, because we don't want these horrible outcomes. Yeah, and we don't want to. We don't want to lose.
I'm a lucky one.
We don't want to lose anybody to this. I mean...
No, we don't.
It's just horrible. Okay, so there's another thing that I almost glossed over altogether. And this is the key. The key one. Where do people get the books? Where do people find you?
Amazon.com is your greatest resource for my books because you get them at a super discount. Or if you come to one of my signings, you get them personally. I do have a magnet on the side of my car that says THERESA Moretimer, hide from death. And I always sell copies of my books. They're $10 from me. But on Amazon, $2.99 for an ebook. That's not really a bad price because you're helping a great cause.
Yeah, I was going to say, mention that again before, since you're mentioning the price of the book. Go ahead and tell people what you're doing.
20% of all of my book sales, goes to help victims of domestic violence. And I will even take, if you don't live in Maryland, you live in Pennsylvania, you live in New York, you live in Hawaii, I don't care. If you tell me the organization's name, I will make sure that from all the books sold from that state, they will get that 20%. But I will make sure that it goes straight to domestic violence because we need this help. These people need this help because it doesn't affect just women. 23% of them are men. But men don't like to tell people that they're a victim.
That staggers. That just, boy, you're good at this. I don't like this game, leaving me speechless.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not your fault. That's just a staggering statistic. I guess I didn't take the time to look it up first. I mean, so you just kind of blindsided me with it. But that seems. Well,
that's here. I guess I should have looked up all over. I haven't done every state.
Well, but
that's my state.
Okay, but still. I mean, I'm sure your state's not...
There's a lot of men that, and to me, that's a lot of men. I don't care if it's 5%, that's still a lot of men because of that 5%, how many percent didn't say something because of embarrassment? I was going to say that my wife or girlfriend hit me.
Yeah, I was going to say that number has to be a lot higher than that. I mean, Unfortunately. I mean, the unfortunate thing is this is happening, period. But, wow, that's just...
I have emails from a lot of men that I have to keep confidential who ask me, what should I do? My wife is doing this. I sported a black eye to work, and I had to tell them, I had an accident, and we were playing ball or something, and the kid hit me in the eye. And I said, you really need to document that stuff. If you don't want to make out a police report, talk to your attorney. Call the hotline for domestic violence. There's one in every state, but there's a national hotline as well. Call them, talk to them, find out what they say, because without me being there to really know your situation, I am not qualified to tell you what to do.
Right, but
I can only give you some advice from what I've gone through and what I know. But my advice, it may not be the best advice in all situations.
No, but do follow up with somebody. That is the advice, no matter. I think we can agree on that, at least. Well, THERESA...
And I think that somebody should tell their friend, find one best friend you have that you can trust your secrets with. Tell that person. I don't care if you're male or female. Tell that person.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I told you it was going to happen, and it happened in a hurry tonight, didn't it? We're done. I'm done with you. I've got to wrap it up, put a bow on it. So visit Amazon and look for, where'd it go? To Hide from Death.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you, THERESA.
Thank you.
And
it's been a wonderful night.
Thank you. And if this, just take this from this show. Do something productive. I mean, this was a horrible situation in her life, and I want to personally thank her again for coming on and sharing with me. It wasn't easy for her to do, I know. And trust me, we talked about it in great length to get her on and talking about it. I mean, she's done shorter little things here and there, but I thought it was important to do this. And we didn't even mention the Mars Social Contest. That's where we got connected at. I want to thank Joe over there for sending me a bunch of offers. He sent me Ed last week, and I did interview Ed, if you're interested in his story about Leonard Skinner, his dog. And he's giving proceeds of his book to animal shelters. So if you haven't caught that yet, go download the podcast. And she's giving money to domestic help people that are domestically abused. And I think I can't remember what it is, but they're giving money too. So, well, it's not all paranormal all the time around here. There are bigger things in life that some things need brought to the surface. I think it's time that I'm going to do it. I bring a little awareness, and I'll be back to the paranormal soon enough, gang. I'm sure my wife and I will talk about it at the end of the month on June 24th. And then I'm doing time travel call-ins, and it'll be all back, don't worry. But every once in a while, you need to hold the mirror up and look at you clean in the eye and say, where are you in life and what are you doing to help other people? So tonight, I hope I help somebody. Or whenever they listen to the show, I hope they take the time and call somebody and reach out for help they need. That's what I hope my hope is for tonight. And since I wasn't on last week, I want to thank everybody again who called in for the roast. And that most heartfelt thank yous to everybody that called, tweeted, promoted. It means the world to me. It really did encourage me to keep with it and do another year. But again, it's not all about ghosts and demons and UFOs and all that stuff. Every once in a while, you just need to observe yourself and look at yourself. Not easy, is it? We're all flawed. Boy, I'm trying not to sound like Dr. Phil. Maybe I should bust out my Dr. Phil voice or my Maury Povich and say, you are the father. No, anyways. No, all kidding aside. Take a moment, and if you see one of your friends that need help, give them that nudge. Don't be forceful. Just give them a nudge. And maybe some week I'll turn the show into the Jerry Springer show since people love the talk show things. I don't know. But it is what it is. And I hope you enjoy. I want to say I hope you enjoyed tonight's show, because that's not true. It was a good show, but it wasn't enjoyable in that sense of the word. But I think you all understand why I'm doing it. Until next week, it's been the Malliard Report with my guest, THERESA Moretimer. I hope you have a good week.
Before we flip that on-air sign to the off position, a quick reminder. For all things about the report, previews, and reviews, go to italkparanormal.com.
If you're looking for a radio show where all things paranormal go, well, tune in and be in the know with Jim Malliard as your host. Come and see what lies beneath paranormal activity. The Malliard Report. Yeah, the Malliard Report. Tune in and listen every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, right online. It's the Malliard Report. Yeah, the Malliard Report.
Get connected with Take Two Radio on Facebook or Twitter at Take Two Radio. For email updates on future shows, follow at Blog Talk Radio. For previous episodes, upcoming guests, and more, visit take2radio.com.